We are here live, more or less, from Las Vegas. With Mark Anthony, I'm Rick Rosen. This is Good Sports. What a great morning here in Vegas, Mark.
Yes,
the
it
basketball
is.
center of the universe. Man, if you
Okay.
like basketball and you're not in Las Vegas, you are screwing up.
Oh my God!
It better be a family emergency or worse that's keeping you from here.
Awesome time, man. Oh, awesome.
This is just we're going to paint a little mental picture for folks, Mark. Just to say we had yesterday at the Mendenhall Center on UNLV's campus, right next door to the Thomas and Mack Arena.
Yep.
We saw the practice for our U.S. men's national team that's going to play in the Olympics in Rio. This is not everybody. James Harden wasn't there yesterday, but he was replaced by LeBron James, who showed up and wasn't expected to practice. And sure enough, LeBron's out there. He sees the basketball and he sees the basket and he grabs the ball and now he's in practice.
He's playing.
It's LeBron's team. I don't know that he's going to play tonight, but he doesn't have to play his way onto anything. But this is LeBron's team. When LeBron showed up, it was a different attitude than when LeBron wasn't there. This is LeBron James's team. Make no mistake about it, and he is the king. And he just has that presence and the joy that these guys are having playing. I don't know what the difference is to them between here and NBA. I mean, that's what we all consider the highest level. But dear God, there were 4 half-court things going on with 10 players on each court. And everywhere you looked, it was an NBA All-Star game lineup on all 4 halves of the court. I mean, Kevin Durant was over on the same neck of the woods where Stephen Curry was. Their little group was going. LeBron James was let me see. LaMarcus Aldridge was up there with them. You start going down, and then Steph Curry, Klay Thompson was over on the other court with Draymond Green. Kenneth Faried was there from the Nuggets, and I don't know if there's 2 guys having a better time than Draymond Green and Kenneth Faried. I've got a great picture that's up on our site, Mark, of them chest bumping, and you just see that unbridled joy. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger group of happy millionaires than what we. Honest to God, it's so refreshing to see guys. They're playing for nothing. You know, we always use that phrase, Mark. This guy played for free. Well, son of a gun, we got a whole bunch of them that are playing for free.
Yes,
I mean, whatever stipend they get, meal money, $200 a day or whatever it is. You know.
Well, what was funny was, you say that the whole thing changed when LeBron came on the scene, and it did, but it was also just funny because you had these guys that are all 7'10" tall.
Yeah, those are the guards.
I mean, I was standing on the sideline, and there was a camera guy next to me for one of the local news agencies, and all he kept saying is going, "Oh my God, they're big! Oh my God!"
And some of them are surprisingly big. When you when you see them next to each other, okay, it loses that reality point where you say, "Wow!" But when you stand next to LeBron, he's a big human being, but he's not that overwhelmingly huge. When you stand next to Kevin Durant, I talk to Kevin Durant, and I'm looking and keep looking up, man. And Kevin Durant is just tall. I mean, he's 6'10". He's tall, dude. He's tall and skinny and an incredibly talented basketball player. If it wasn't for LeBron James, Kevin Durant's the second best ball player on earth, as far as I'm concerned. He's unstoppable.
The other thing that was cool, the kids that were throwing them the basketballs, they were like 8, 9 years old. You know, and they came up to the players' knees.
If that.
A couple of the players played with them. I mean, literally played with them.
Oh yeah,
You
they
know,
let the kids get out there.
yeah,
LeBron James's two sons were behind us yesterday as I was standing off on the corner getting some shots. You know, you have to get a different angle, and so I go to all 4 points of the gym just to make sure I get everybody in there. And his kids were sitting there, and they were not overly interested in what I obviously let's go out. Hey, Dad, let's go out in the driveway and play some basketball. Okay, it's LeBron James that you're taking out there. But it was cool that the guys do bring their kids. Steph Curry didn't bring Riley, his daughter that got famous during the playoffs. But it's cool to see the family kind of thing, but the family amongst the players is incredible. Like I say, you've got guys that were just beating the crap out of each other in a few weeks ago during the NBA playoffs. I mean, literally the next step from where they were physically was a fist fight. And now they're buddies and staying with each other and eating and doing all this and glad-handed and having fun. I mean, you look at how many guys came from the Golden State Warriors, the NBA champions, and there's LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, and there was no bad blood. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I mean, you get those guys that played for the NBA championship, and now here they are, teammates. You know, one of the greatest things, Mark, for me, is watching Mike Krzyzewski coach, and he is very ably Jim Boeheim, who's in his last year at Syracuse, and also Tom Thibodeau, the head coach of the Bulls, and they have a couple guys that are out there. Monty Williams is the other coach, and he's the guy that during the practice, he's the opponent. He's the Washington Generals for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Right.
He's the scout team for a football team, and he is out there taking these guys one-on-one on a play. Now they're calling the play. Here's what you have to do. We're going to shoot 15-foot jumpers or whatever. He's the guy that provides the defense on LeBron James and Kevin Durant and on and on and on and on ad nauseum. And I must have seen that guy take, it had to be at least 100 turns playing defense on these guys, different places on the court, just to get them ready. And Monty Williams was a pretty decent player. He's an assistant coach with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I'm sure he does it with Durant and Russell Westbrook, who also is there on a regular basis. But my God, what a hell of a basketball player to be trusted to go play defense on these guys. And he gets a hand up in their face. He puts a hand on their hip and keep them out, and they have great affection for him. But you talk about effective. Here's this guy who does nothing at practice anyway, but beyond these guys. And there was a couple of them out there playing, and I offered to give him some photos, and he thought that would be cool. He doesn't have many photos of him at practice because everybody gets the game shots, and nobody gets them at practice. Right. And you talk about somebody working their asses off, Mark. What impressed you the most, Mark? I mean, you're not a huge basketball fan, but what impressed you the most?
The camaraderie of it all, again, going back to just a couple weeks ago, these guys were at each other's throats, and here they are giving, playing with each other, helping each other get better, if there is such a thing. And the thing that
there is such a thing.
Yeah, but the thing that it reminded me of the fact that the difference between an amateur and a professional isn't that far. When you watch these guys do free throws, they miss just as much as a lot of normal people do.
And Dwight Howard misses more of them.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen I would say this about Dwight Howard. The most impressive physical specimen I believe I have ever seen, male-wise, that's not steroids or anything like that. What an Adonis of a human being. And I don't know if I've seen anybody at this camp more disinterested, more lethargic, attitude-wise, than Dwight Howard. Superman my ass, dude. You must be wearing kryptonite underwear because you suck. He was there while everybody else was running around having fun and doing. Here's Dwight Howard, free throw, and wait for the ball to bounce back to him. Doesn't move.
Yeah.
Ball comes back to him. Free throw. Everything else going on around him is at chaos speed. And here this guy is at Quaalude speed. You know, it looks like he was on a date with Bill Cosby. And like, come on, dude. Do something. Be Dwight Howard. And I don't think he's going to make this team. I think there's guys playing much harder, much better that are giving it all. And I don't think Krzyzewski's a big fan of lazy. And man, for Dwight Howard, I don't know what ruined him, and I don't know if money like that would not have ruined me or whatever it is, Mark. But whatever the problem is with Dwight Howard, it's very, very evident when you compare him to the other guys who are players in the NBA. I mean, and it's unfortunate because
I don't see him on the list.
No, and you can see the partners. You can see the guys who are friends. Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, it has surprised me that those two have not hooked up on a team somehow together, whether it was New York Knicks or in Cleveland or whatever. Carmelo and LeBron are as close as any two guys are that you see there, save maybe for Draymond Green and Kenneth Faried. Not a good sign for the Denver Nuggets. You know, when guys form those friendships and those bonds and they play so well together, they tend to go. I mean, that's how LeBron ended up in Miami. Him and Dwayne Wade were so tight. Well, Wade's not on this team anymore. But Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James are imagine those guys showing up at your neighborhood basketball court. Hey, let's go 2-on-2. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And, you know, Carmelo Anthony's kind of the forgotten guy when he was with the Nuggets, and then he goes to the Knicks. And you're talking about a hell of a ball player and a guy who has been there. If you think about Carmelo Anthony, I mean, he's been on some not so good USA basketball teams. He's gone to the Olympics. He is the elder statesman. He has more Olympic appearances than most all the rest of them, if not all of them. And you look at the job Jerry Colangelo does, the president, and Mike Krzyzewski does as the head coach, and the guys that he has in there. What a wonderful organization they have put together. And to think that you got 40 guys out there, and you stuff those egos over there in one of those trash cans, and let's play basketball.
Yeah.
These kids that didn't go, well, now they're young men who didn't go to college. This is their college coaching, and they're not at a camp with some college coach from Podunk Tech. They're at a camp with Mike Krzyzewski coaching them, and you can see his imprint on every last one of them. They play defense, they rebound, they get their open shots, and they play team ball. They pass the ball to an open teammate as well as any five guys, and it doesn't matter which five are out there. They have taken what very, very short a time. I mean, my God, they've only had 2 practices, and yesterday's was a truncated thing. So they've had, 3 hours of practice on the court at that, Mark, and they're stretching for some of that time and whatever, and media and the whole shooting match. To say that you've got your fives figured out. These 5 play together well, and these 5 play together well. They can send a second team in that's an NBA starting 5 out there, an all-star starting 5. It can replace the first 5 all-stars, you know? And the other teams just don't get any time off. Other teams in the world might go 6 or 7 deep of NBA quality players, and then they're down to Christoph, blah, 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 from somewhere on the outskirts of Athens, who was a great player in high school, and now he played in college, and now he plays semi-pro or whatever they call it in Greece, whatever. Yeah. Well, now he's up against, if he's a guard, he's going against Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry, and you just start going from there. Okay, they don't both start. So when you play one and you play your ass off and you've held this guy down, all right, wait a minute. Here comes Kyrie Irving. Steph Curry looks a little tired. Here comes Kyrie Irving. You've got LeBron James out there. You've played your ass off keeping LeBron James in check, and you're just gassed, and here comes LeBron needs a blow. Here comes Carmelo Anthony. There is no time off. You look at the center position with DeMarcus Cousins, Kenneth Faried, Dwight Howard, if he would make it, Mason Plumlee. Imagine having to cut 28 of this 40. Imagine having to cut. You know what I mean? They're taking the top 25 or 28% or whatever it is. Oh dear God. And some guys get pissed off. There's some guys that didn't show up this year, they showed last year, that aren't used to being reserves and aren't used to being not the man.
Right.
And some guys didn't respond well, and they're not here. Those guys that can come off the bench and sit there and watch an entire game without doing much. But the guy I didn't mention out of the bigs is the guy I think is going to be the next superstar in the NBA, and that's Anthony Davis. Come out of Kentucky is the #1 draft pick. He's with the New Orleans Pelicans, and his college coach John Calipari was there yesterday. He's one of the assistant coaches, at least on the staff anyway, and he had his notebook. And Calipari gets a lot of heat basketball wise, but he very much reminds me of Jerry Tarkanian. I'll recruit him and I'll get him to play. And the end of the day, they have something more than the NCAA championship on their plate. And so we have to pay homage to that. We have to at least give that some of our efforts in, that it doesn't end all. The end when the final buzzer goes off and they play one shining moment, that's not the end of your career. This is just a stepping stone. And Calipari's aware of that, and that's why he gets these guys. And he was sitting on the bench with John Wall on one side and Anthony Davis on the other. And I kind of leaned over and said, "Coach, can I get a photo?" And he said, "Well, it's okay with me if it's okay with these guys." And Anthony Davis has a great sense of humor, and he says, "I don't take pictures." I said, "No, that's my job. I take them. You pose for them." And they all smiled and looked at me. And Coach Calipari would like me to get the photos to him. My phone is not capable of doing. I didn't take the photos on my phone, so if anybody knows how to send photos that are taken on a digital camera and now are on my computer, how I can send them in a cell phone message, if we can figure that out, I'd like to do it, because Coach Cal, that's what he asked me for, the photos. And I take it kind of seriously, Mark, that I get photos of guys interacting with each other. You can only see you can only take so many photos of guys dunking or doing this or doing that. And to me, it's about the interaction that you see between these guys. But what a team! What a tremendous team. And oh my God, we're going to go watch the NBA All-Star game tonight, Mark. We probably have more talent.
Yes.
There's probably going to be more talent on the court than there was at the NBA All-Star game. If LeBron decides to play, they'll put a jersey on him. But there's going to be quite a few guys. There's going to be 30 guys or thereabouts out there. I don't know that all of them are going to be invited. But let's just run down the starting five. Where the hell do you? Okay, we got LeBron James. If he wants to play, he's out there. Next, who's going to play center? I don't know. We got some really good centers. We got Anthony Davis. We got DeMarcus Cousins. Or you say, who's going to be our power forward? Well, okay, we're back to, we got Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins and Kenneth Faried and Dwight Howard. And you start saying, how does anybody possibly match up with them? Let's go to guards. My God, you've got James Harden, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. Okay, that's pretty good right there. You pick two out of that four. And our second team is going to be the second best basketball team at the Olympics. Our bench warmers would start for any other of the Olympic teams. It is a foregone conclusion. If we lose, it'll be a bigger loss than the Miracle on Ice was to the Russians. I mean, there is absolutely no way that anybody can match up with us talent-wise, and they're not going to get out-coached.
Well, I just remember the last time that I attended this, and it was the USA against, who was it, Uruguay, Ukraine, or some
the Dominican Republic.
That's what
it's
it was.
Close.
Yeah,
one of the third world things. Yeah, we got it.
And it was so funny because the other team came out of the locker room and they looked at our team, and they just kind of stood there and went,
yeah. Oh, you see those guys in absolute awe.
Yeah, they're just like, we get to play them.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And John Calipari was coaching the Dominican Republic team, and the kid that was all the big time stars that didn't make our team or whatever, that had could spell Dominican Republic, which is not all college basketball players, that got to be on that team. I don't know what the connection was, but Towns, who was the first pick overall this year, went to Minnesota, unfortunately. But anyway, he was on that team, and you look at guys step it up, but honest to God, there was not one member of that Dominican Republican team who at that time could have could have made the practice roster for Basketball USA. And here they were in a game, and they played hard, and they were X's and O's coached. But oh dear God, there is such a huge, and this is where these guys get together, and this is where they're allowed to have fun. And those guys that would play for nothing do, and they're out there just giggling and laughing and whatever. Like I say, to me, I don't see a lot of guys palling around with Dwight Howard. All the photos you have of him, he's kind of standing there with his, with his kind of forlorn, here I am, I'm shooting free throws. And he doesn't do it like he's figuring it out. No. They have the hack a Dwight thing. They used to have hack a Shaq, and I don't know why big guys can't shoot free throws. They're easy. Nothing's moving. Stand here, bend your knees, take a breath. Same thing. I went from being a 50% free throw shooter, Mark, that I shot well into the 80%, because I stood out there and practiced. But I practiced and I wanted to learn. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And move around. It's kind of like bowling. Okay, I stand the same number of lines over to get my swing to accommodate what is the given thing, and that's the pins are down there, the ball's here, here's the line you don't cross. Where do I have to stand to get the ball down there in the right spot? And that's all free throw shooting is. And like I say, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody as disinterested in doing something. I don't know why Dwight Howard showed up. I don't know if it's PR or what, but he sure as hell doesn't look like a guy who's going to make this team. And rightly so. There are guys playing much, much harder. There are guys that take that practice real seriously, and Kevin Durant's one of them. Man, and the other cool thing is we saw Paul George yesterday, Mark, make an appearance, not out there on the court. I don't think the Indiana Pacers are going to do that anytime soon again. But Paul George showed up, and it was a cool thing. And James Harden was there Tuesday and wasn't there yesterday, and so I don't think it was an injury thing with Harden. I don't know what he had going, but it's not like he needs a whole lot of practice with these guys anyway. But the game is tonight, 7:30 tonight, Thomas and Mack Arena. Tickets are available, and oh dear God, if you're a basketball fan and you got $15 in your pocket and you don't go to this, then you only have yourself to blame, because you're missing by far and away the best basketball that's going to be played anywhere on earth today, and probably for a hell of a long time, Mark, until we start the NBA season again.
The other thing that I noticed was there was a lot of retired talent there. There were a lot of people that were showing up just to say hello to their buddies there. So, I mean, it's just not current NBA talent showing up for this event. You've got a lot of older talent and college talent as well. They're cheering them on. So I'm sure that's going to be the same thing tonight. You're going to have all this other talent in the bleachers. So it's going to be a people watching event.
And the other talent is, you're absolutely right, Mark. And there's not many places better to go for people watching than there. There, we have Gucci Row will be filled up. The one year I took the photo of I asked the kid, I was sitting under the basket, and there were people going down and going down, and you see them stop and get autographs or whatever. And I really couldn't see. And I asked one of the ball boys, I said, "Who are they taking pictures of down there?" And he said, "Ludacris." And cool. My boys, my son, I had the two boys at the time that were, my son has since passed on. But I said, I know they like Ludacris. I'll go down there and get a photo and take it home for him. So I go down and I say, "Luda." And I look, and he's the black guy sitting there. And I say, "Luda, can I get a photo of you?" And he takes off his glasses like this. He does like this. And he elbows the guy next to him. I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I look, and it's Bill Gates. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. So I take a step back. Okay, I'm ready. And Bill Gates is doing this and elbowing the guy next to him. I'm like, "What the hell are we doing here?" And I look, and it's Warren Buffett. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a really good photo. I got Ludacris, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. Let me see. Ludacris is worth a couple $100 million, give or take a few, from all the albums and the different things that he does and video production and everything. He's a businessman. Imagine sitting next to Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and only being worth a couple $100 million.
Yeah.
You feel like the pauper. Uh, Guys, I don't know if I can cover the check for lunch. Yeah, we got you this time, but we're keeping track of it. So yeah, it's one of my favorite photos. But that's Basketball USA. When it's our team, you never know who's going to show up, Mark. And of course, we have no shortage of stars from other venues here in Las Vegas. But yeah, and the old players. Bill Russell's a big supporter. He's a guy who won Olympic gold and I think probably the greatest competitive player of all time. Bill Russell. It's kind of hard to argue. Never lost a game 7. Never, ever, ever lost a game 7. Never. I don't know how you. What's there to compare that to? I can't think of anything, but Bill Russell's there and he always sits and stupidly people will ask him for autographs. He doesn't do autographs. If you ask him nicely, he'll stand and take a photo with you and whatever, but he doesn't do autographs. He doesn't want to. Yeah, I don't want them sold on eBay, and he thinks that's very impersonal. And so I always try to get a picture of him. Dr. J comes. He always sits in the stands. He's a big supporter there. You get people come up, but the coaches that are there, whether it's ex-coaches or current coaches or whatever, people that are basketball fans will be here in Las Vegas tonight at 7:30 at the Thomas and Mack. That's Thursday night, 7:30 at the Thomas and Mack. Tickets are available. Amazingly, tickets are available. This is just odd that there wouldn't be this rush. I mean, it's not like it's Saturday night in Vegas.
Right.
It's Thursday night, and there ain't squat on TV, and that's why you have a DVR anyhow. But get out there and go see this, man. It's there's nothing that you won't see tonight. You're talking about it's the All-Star game, except they're going to play defense in this one. That's what they have to do. This is real basketball. The All-Star game is such a bastardized thing. It really doesn't resemble basketball because you're kind of looked down upon if you play defense on a guy who's trying to show off his offensive skills. You don't want to be out there playing tough D on Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson or on and on and on down the line. When they play against each other, great, but you don't want to be the one guy who goes out there and mugs Michael Jordan or knocks the ball out of his hands as he's on the way for a dunk. So in this game, in this setting, yes, you do. You want to be the guy that can defend LeBron James. You want to be the guy that can take the ball out of Carmelo Anthony's hands. You want to be the guy that can keep Steph Curry from getting off his shot. And oh my God, of all the basketball that I've ever seen, Mark, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody who can get his shot off at any given moment. When he comes off the dribble and up to shooting position and lets the ball go, the defender has in the incredible short amount of time that he has to do that, the defender has to react and then move accordingly, and there's no shot. There's no shot. He gets that shot off. He's walking down, all of a sudden, phew, up his hands go, and there goes the shot. And I got a photo, and the defender is this far. I don't know if I can show my hands that far apart. the defender's leaning for him, and this is and Steph Curry is 3 feet back. He might, you would have to give this guy a fishing net to have a shot at touching that basketball. There's just, it's an incredible amount of talent that you see out here, and some of them are going to get cut. DeMar DeRozan is what a incredible, really, really good player, and he hardly is out there on the court even when they play, Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge, and there's some oddities. There's some guys who had some things went on in the offseason, whether they changed teams or almost changed teams, and then went back. DeAndre Jordan agreed to go to the Mavericks, didn't go, came back to the Clippers. Chris Paul, certainly there's a guy we left off the guards list. I mean, it's kind of tough to leave Chris Paul out, but he must be a hell of a salesman, man, because he kept LaMarcus Aldridge with the Clippers, and the Clippers are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Blake Griffin's there. You just start going. Here's just for a real quick. Tell me when we get to somebody you really haven't heard of. LaMarcus Aldridge, Carmelo Anthony, Harrison Barnes, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Michael Carter Williams, Mike Conley, DeMarcus Cousins, Stephen Curry, Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond, Kevin Durant, Kenneth Faried, Rudy Gay, Draymond Green, Paul George, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Tobias Harris, Gordon Hayward, Dwight Howard, Kyrie Irving. LeBron James, DeAndre Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Love, Victor Oladipo, Chandler Parsons, Chris Paul, Mason Plumlee, Klay Thompson, John Wall, and Russell Westbrook. I'll eat your shoes if you can tell me there's a better group of players congregated anywhere else on earth. I'll eat your shoes and your sticky socks too. And what a tremendous lineup that is, Mark.
Yes.
And they're going to cut more than half of them. That's got to be That's got to be a pretty good ego shot to these guys. Some of the guys that are getting cut are going to make the NBA Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Basketball Hall of Fame is going to hold some guys that weren't good enough to make this team, or for whatever reasons didn't make this team. Not good enough is kind of I don't know if that's the right description of the situation. They're just not going to make this team. And man, Mike Krzyzewski and Jerry Colangelo are not going to have an easy time making cuts. Kobe's not here. You think the guys that aren't here this year that have been, Kobe Bryant's not here. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room when he's here.
Yes.
We've been to practice before, Mark, where somebody's on Kevin Durant or somebody's on LeBron James, or they got their guy. And they're up on them tough, and they watch when their man has the ball, they're down in their defense and they're playing. When Kobe Bryant touched the ball, when the ball goes into Kobe Bryant's hands, all the other 9 pairs of eyes, all other 18 eyes are on Kobe Bryant. They all turn towards Kobe. It's like all of a sudden the zone, offense and defense. Everybody knows Kobe's got the ball. Here we go. And when Dwayne Wade was out there too, he did the same thing. And as an incredible player as he is, everybody had him one-on-one. When Kobe Bryant touched the ball, it was more than that. And we miss Kobe. He was a hell of a contributor to Basketball USA, and kind of the forgotten guy. But you think of who's not there, who could be there, and who's not there. Oh my God. It's just incredibly amazing to me. Well, all right. Basketball tonight, 7:30, Thomas and Mack. We're going to take a short break here. You're listening to Good Sports. We'll be right back after these brief commercial messages. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back. It's Good Sports.
We're back.
Rosa with Mark Anthony. We are back. I didn't really go anywhere. Went potty, but good thing is it depends. I didn't have to leave my seat. Gino Smith.
Why even ask?
Gino Smith. Gino Smith.
Gino Smith, man.
You've said it all. Quarterback for the New York Jets comes in. A lot of conjecture draft day whether he was going to be the first overall pick, a very talented young man in college, West Virginia. Not so proven the talent in the NFL. He had a deal where he didn't show for a charity event. Enemkpali put up the money, and that's a defensive lineman or linebacker. Put up the money, and Gino Smith was a no-show, had a family emergency, whatever, and the guy finally said, "Hey, I want my $600 back." And reports first were that Enemkpali sucker punched Gino Smith and broke his jaw, and the Jets cut him immediately. Now reports are from eyewitnesses, Gino had it coming. That's what they're saying now. That's what the headlines are on Yahoo Sports right now. Gino had it coming, and the argument escalated into something where Gino put his finger, touched Enemkpali, and got in his face, got face to face. I'm tough. I'm Gino Smith. I'm a quarterback. And oh shit, you hit me in the face and broke my jaw. Uh-oh. And that's what happened. And, over $600 to guys making millions and millions of dollars doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. But now nobody's coming to Gino Smith's defense. Nobody's jumping in and saying, "Hey, you can't hit our starting quarterback," and I guess you can when he's a prick. And that's pretty much what the bottom line is with Gino Smith and Enemkpali, IK Enemkpali. The Jets' old coach Rex Ryan is the new coach of the Buffalo Bills, and wasted no time whatsoever once the Jets waived Enemkpali to sign him. And so he knows both guys. So he took the guy he wanted. I don't think he wanted Gino Smith as his quarterback in the first place. He had Mark Sanchez already. He already had a guy who couldn't play. What do we need 2 quarterbacks who can't play in the NFL for? You know, give me an extra kicker or a long snapper or something. You know, I'll play quarterback. But Geno Smith has pretty much proven himself to be an interception machine, a guy who's not incredibly well versed at team football. And anyway, I think it's going to be a much bigger issue overall than Deflategate. That's going on. The judge keeps telling them, you guys get it figured out, get it settled, do what you're going to do, but get it over with, get it figured out. And they're not going to do it. And he told everybody, don't read into what goes on, what is said, and whatever into what might give you a hint as to what his final decision is. But it's very difficult not to do that, Mark. All reports are that he's been much more hard on the NFL in his questioning of why you did. What does it mean? You know, we're not talking about national security. We're not talking about Hillary Clinton and the emails on the server and it's top secret or whatever. We're talking about a football player who's married to a superstar who I know Coach Cal gave me his cell phone number. I'm pretty sure people have to change their cell phones every once in a while. Some asshole like Donald Trump might give it out on national television, Lindsey Graham. And you have to change your cell phone number every once in a while. And then you have to get in touch with everybody that couldn't get in touch with you anymore. You know, it's a pain in the ass. Anyway, Tom Brady destroyed his cell phone. Okay, that's not a crime. And you're not investigating a damn murder. When Aaron Hernandez destroyed his cell phone, speaking of former Patriots, it was because there was evidence of murder on there. There was evidence linking him to murders, not just a murder. Tom Brady is linked to some error not being in the balls.
Yeah,
and I think they misstepped. I don't think Goodell has the authority shouldn't at least have the authority to be judge and jury, and also the appeals court too. You know, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Roger Goodell. I don't think he does a real good job.
Well, I like the judge. You know, I mean, he's he's like, we're really spending our time on this.
Yeah,
I
got murderers out there that are waiting.
You're a tax exempt monopoly. You guys make $1 billion, and you're bitching about air in a ball. Yeah, no.
And that tax exemption is kind of an odd thing, Mark. Baseball has their antitrust okay, and so they can do some of the things. Football does not enjoy that. It is only the sport of baseball that is protected antitrust wise. So the teams, however it's structured, it's not right that they are they're sure as hell not a charity as far as anybody can see. But the tax exempt status that they get is not for the totality of the NFL. What they enjoy in baseball is for the totality of baseball. So it's part of the deal, and certainly not anything that makes any sense to me, but it does not cover the entirety of football. There are some differences. George Carlin was very good about explaining the differences between baseball and football. And if you haven't heard that, folks, you owe it to yourself to go on Google and listen to George Carlin or YouTube, whatever, explain the differences between baseball and football. One of the most striking is it's okay for football coaches to be standing on the sideline wearing a baseball hat, but think how quickly they would come after a baseball manager who was standing in the dugout wearing a football helmet. And that actually makes a little common sense. I mean, I'm going to wear a helmet. I'm over here where them balls come in every once in a while, or a bat might fly or whatever. Okay, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. He says, in baseball, there's a walk. In football, rush. You know, so there's some huge differences in baseball and football, but anyway, Gino Smith going to be out 6 to 10 weeks with the broken jaw. And, when you have teammates applauding the fact that you got your jaw broke, it might be time to find something else to do or another place to do it. But I don't think Gino Smith's the answer, even healthy. I don't think he was going to have a real good year. New system, new whatever. Maybe that works for him. But I think the Jets are going to be once again, crappy Jets. The Mets, on the other hand, in baseball, whose farm team is here in Las Vegas, are making a real statement for to be a part of the playoffs and to be a factor in the playoffs. They have the arms. They have the young arms. There are teams in the major leagues who would probably trade you straight up, player for what we have here in the Las Vegas
Oh, no
51s,
kidding.
talent wise, and think these are guys that can't move their way up to the Mets because the Mets have built they really have a very substantial farm system, and the crown jewel of it is the Las Vegas 51s, and our friend Don Logan and Jim Gemma do such a great job there. Dick Calvert do a great job with the hand they've been dealt to do minor league sports here in Las Vegas is not an easy thing. This is a labor of love, if ever there was one. And they're playing baseball in the middle of the desert in an open air stadium in the middle of the summer. And they do it successfully. They have stuck around. They make the accommodations. They adjust their schedule. They do these different kinds of things, and they do it marvelously. And the Mets are the beneficiaries of it. I mean, last year or a couple of years ago, we were the farm team for the Toronto Blue Jays, who, by the way, have now caught the Yankees. They've caught up. They were 6.5 games behind the Yankees just 3 weeks ago. And the Blue Jays at the trade deadline on July 31st or thereabouts, a day or two, one way or the other, picked up Troy Tulowitzki and David Price and added them to an already okay Blue Jays team, a second-place Blue Jays team. They're now going for 11 wins in a row since that trade. Troy Tulowitzki is a perfect fit. What a great player he is, and how happy I am, even though I'm a Rockies fan, that a guy like Troy Tulowitzki gets a chance to play for an organization that wants to win. Dick Monfort, and you cannot spell moron without Monfort or Monfort without moron, however you want to say it, has done everything ass backwards that you can possibly do with the major league, very successful franchise, who the people show up just, oh God, what a wonderful atmosphere there is. Beautiful weather, etc. Sometimes they have some storms in Colorado, but for the most part, it's a great environment to play baseball. You hit the ball and it goes a country mile, and you got this and that, but it's exciting baseball. And Dick Monfort has screwed that up. They don't get 10,000 people at the games anymore. And they had Troy Tulowitzki. They've had guys that move on and play well elsewhere. They just won't actually spend the money. This guy is pissing away a very big opportunity to be a major player. I mean, Kansas City, right down the road, the team we used to go to Kansas City. If you want to go watch Major League Baseball, you took a day trip to Kansas City and you went and watched the Royals play, or you went to St. Louis and watched that, and then Arizona came along and that was a little more convenient, and then Denver got their got the Rockies, and you watch that. But Kansas City, a much smaller market than Denver, or at least comparatively speaking, and they got the Royals, and they're playing, and they do what they have to do, and they spend the money, and they get the guys, and they make the trades, and they use their heads, and they hear the Rockies suck. But they gave up Troy Tulowitzki, and again, it's a good thing for Tulo that he gets to go to a team like the Blue Jays, and he's made the impact. His presence, they talk about guys being a cancer in the locker room. Then that must mean Troy Tulowitzki is the chemotherapy in the locker room, because he gets rid of cancers, and he changes cancerous things to good things. And by the way, not that this has anything to do with sports, but we want to send our thoughts and prayers to former President Jimmy Carter. And I don't give a damn whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or whatever. The man's 90 years old and has liver cancer that has spread to some of the rest of his system, and so the prognosis is not good at all for people, for youngsters, for people in the prime of life. And when you're 90 years old, and that's your diagnosis, I can't imagine that it's anything but, let's say, a fond farewell to Jimmy Carter. So we want to pass on our thoughts and prayers. And Jimmy Carter's got some class. Here's a guy who retired and started building homes for people and making sure people got to vote and did those kind of things. So regardless of whether you agree with him politically or whatever, Jimmy Carter's a guy who his sports connection was, we're not going to go to the Olympics. And I think there's people sporting wise who look at Jimmy Carter and say, these people trained their entire lives to make that one Olympic team. And you said, well, the Russians went to Afghanistan, so we're not going to go to the Olympics. And we didn't do that. And that entire generation, that entire 4 years. I mean, it's just 4 years between Olympics. But imagine how hard you must train to make that Olympics and then to be named to the team and gone through the trials, whether it's swimmers or gymnasts or whatever, and you make the Olympic team and then you don't get to compete in the Olympics. And we had the Goodwill Games. Ted Turner stood up and said, we'll try to have an alternative. And they had the Goodwill Games, and that was it. But Jimmy Carter's forever going to be linked to that boycott. And I don't think it was a clear 100%. I mean, it was not just a black and white thing, Mark. There was so much gray in the middle. And I don't know if the point was, if it made the point that they wanted it to make, but we didn't go to the Olympics that year, 84, or was it 80? One of those two. And we didn't do it, and then the Russians didn't come to. Yeah, I guess it had to be 84. 80. The Russians didn't come to L.A. in 84, and so politics and sports became intertwined more so than they already were. You know, people have gone to war over soccer games before. Guatemala and somebody.
Why do you think we don't want soccer here in Vegas? God, come on.
They fought a war over soccer, over World Cup soccer. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's speaking of world things. The last major in golf, the PGA Championship going on. Dustin Johnson threatening to shoot a real low 60 something as we came on the air. Dustin Johnson seems like the guy who's got it going at least this time around. I believe they're at Walking Stick. So there was another kind of an oddity in baseball, Mark. Hisashi Iwakuma threw a no-hitter at the Orioles, and he is only the second Japanese citizen to come to the major leagues and throw a no-hitter. Hideki Nomo was the first one. He actually threw two of them, one against the Colorado Rockies. But Iwakuma threw the first no-hitter in the American League it's been in a while. It's like 5 years or so between no-hitters in the American League. The National League has had many, many more. And it's not just an oddity, Mark. I think the reason for that is the American League, you don't have to bat when you're the pitcher. And so it's not the easy out. In the National League, you take more than 10% of real batters out of the lineup. That's a good chunk, and so I think that's where the major difference comes between the amount of no-hitters for the National League and the amount of no-hitters for the American League is the designated hitter. You don't get that easy out. You don't get an inning off. The designated hitter comes up, and he's usually that usually means he's a guy who's pretty good with the bat. So, but anyway, Hisashi Iwakuma threw the no-hitter for the Orioles. He plays for the Seattle Mariners, and how cool that is. Seattle, probably next to San Francisco, our biggest concentration of Asian Americans because they're on that coast. And people kind of stop at the first, okay, we're home. We're here. So, and his parents were happy to be visiting from Japan when he threw the no-hitter. And how cool that is.
Yeah, really. Like hey, Dad, look at me.
They'd come over from Japan, so I would imagine the Mariners are going to probably rent them an apartment or something, or fly them back and forth quite often.
Yeah, so, really.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it, Mark. Again, the biggest sporting event, the most incredible sporting event on earth, is going to take place tonight at the Thomas and Mack Arena on UNLV's campus. That is USA basketball and the inter-squad game. And folks, if you're a basketball fan and you're not there, you only have yourself to blame. And that'll be Mark and I that will wave at you.
Yeah.
We'll take photos. Mark, before we go, say a little bit about what we are doing on social network, social media, and what people can do to join us and help us out.
Are we doing it? We're on Facebook.
Did I throw you there, dude? Yeah. We were talking baseball. There's a curve.
There's a curveball. All right. We are on Facebook, of course. We're on Twitter, and we've got an Instagram account. Haven't done anything with it. What else are we on? We have a Pinterest account. Haven't done anything with it yet. So I got to show you how to do all that. And,
okay, that's cool.
Okay, wait. Okay, to let everyone know, what was it, 2 weeks ago we brought your computer into the 21st century?
Thank God for good attorneys.
Yes.
Mills and Mills.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, we did the easy part. We brought his computer into the 21st century. Now it's bringing Rick into the 21st century. That's it's like pulling an anchor.
Time machine. Wait a minute. I resemble that.
However, once again,
Here's
Rick.
My dunce cap. Are you happy?
Yeah. There we go. Once again, Rick, I
look like a Shriner.
Yeah, you're about to be, but I forget when I'm with you that, when we head for the exit, it's not a simple walk from one side of the arena to the other side of the arena and walk out the exit. It's everyone's got to stop and say goodbye to you, or vice versa.
It does take a while to make my way through the crowd, Mark.
Like I said in the elevator, I think the image of you as a fuck up is a ploy. I really do.
And I've got it down to a fine science, don't I?
Oh my God, have you got the people that say hi to you are just absolutely amazing. I'm just like, you know him? Really? And he admits it? Wow.
And admit it. That's one thing. A lot of people know me. Most of them turn around and go the other way when they see me coming. So some of the guys, another group that we haven't mentioned, Mark, that we probably got to give a shout out to is our friends over at Las Vegas Events, who bring these kinds of things like Basketball USA into Las Vegas. And you get guys. Michael Mack is there every practice, former city councilman in Las Vegas. Michael Mack, who with Pat Christensen, is Las Vegas Events. They do some great things for our community, but they're there watching, and we're walking by, and Mark's all amazed. Mark, the first time that I think you became aware of that, we were at the Hard Rock, if I'm not mistaken. And we were up on the second day. Go ahead, you tell it much better than I do.
That is my second best favorite Rick story. Okay.
Oh God. Oh, what's number one? I don't want to know what number one is. Go ahead. Spit it out.
We were there for, what was it, Showtime Boxing or HBO Boxing?
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. We're up on the second floor. And they got the media up on the second floor, and we're overlooking the audience, and like 3 places down from us is this ESPN hot shot, and he's up there telling the stories that the ESPN guys love to tell. I shot this, I know blah blah. Okay, and there you are, just doing your usual shtick up there, making sure no one gets a really good shot by telling them jokes. Which, by the way, Debbie says no. I'm not standing next to Rick at up here. I can never get a good shot.
Oh, you got to keep laughing.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike Tyson had just gotten that tattoo on the side of his face, and you could tell something was happening in the audience. You just couldn't tell what was happening because the crowd got up, and Mike is still the king of boxing. I don't care what anyone says. Mike Tyson is still the king of boxing. When he walks into a room, he lights up the room.
Yeah.
This ESPN guy is sitting, three spots next to us says, "Oh, I know Mike Tyson, Mike," and he yells down, "Mike, up here!" It's whoever it is, and Mike's ignoring him. And I mean, this guy is screaming his lungs out, trying to get Mike Tyson to look up for a photo. Wouldn't do it. Rick. Here, hey, Mike, photo. Mike Tyson goes, "Hi, Rick." This ESPN guy turns and goes, "Who in the fuck are you?"
And I said, "Mike Tyson."
It's Rick. Yeah, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Mike Tyson.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That did happen. No, that was I'm glad you were there to witness, because nobody would believe that. But
yeah.
Yeah, we do have fun, Mark, and you know, it is one of those things that God has granted us both an opportunity to do some things that few other people on earth get to do, and we're so lucky to be able to do it here in Las Vegas. Um, and to I mean to actually get paid for it and to have people invite you to do these things and to be part of it. And you know, I always try to pay some back, Mark. I like to take
Yes.
photos for people.
Yes, you do.
If somebody's there with their point and shoot and I'm standing in front of them, I'll here, give me your camera, and I'll take it out there and I'll take a shot for them. And I love doing that at the Speedway, Mark. You know, we'll end up on the 3-day weekend, NASCAR weekend. I'll have 10,000 photos from that weekend, and I'll take somebody's point and shoot and take it and stick it out the hole during a caution lap or something, and take a photo of Dale Earnhardt Jr. going by, or Jeff Gordon, or Casey Kane, or whomever it is that they want, and I'll take that picture and I'll hand them their cameras back. And I always think, you know, I've got 10,000 photos from this weekend, and they all tend to run together. This guy's got one or two that I took on his camera, and they'll mean the world to him for the rest of his life. He'll remember those, and I'll never. I have to look to see what dates on mine. This guy will know what day that happened. This guy will know what year he was in Las Vegas, and some schmuck of a cameraman took his little point and shoot camera and actually got a shot for him that he'll have. It might not be even a really good shot. It's a car going by, and you can't tell how fast they're going. You can take the same shot if they were parked on the front stretch. But it's something that I enjoy doing, Mark, and I think it's we're both aware of the opportunities and the blessings that we have to be able to do what we do.
True. But okay, final closing remarks on that topic. We were at Basketball USA, and that serviceman that had both of his legs gone.
Colonel Gadsden.
Thank you. You got a picture of him with the NBA All-Stars, and they
LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Yeah. And both sides thanked you. You know, it was just the spur of the moment. They were both thankful to be sitting next to each other, and you made that photo. Yeah. And and it was just so. It was a heartwarming moment that cannot be explained because of the emotions that were involved in that one simple. Hey, can I have a photo of you next to him? And everyone gave you their cameras. And
I'll tell you the setup for it.
Yes.
When they go to take LeBron James's, when they go to talk to LeBron James, everybody crowds in, and they got 10 or 12 microphones right in front of him, and they'll have their microphones up in his face like this. And so I was on the left side. It was like a semicircle, and there was no shot of getting a picture of LeBron without a camera in his face. Now, LeBron's tying his shoes, and he's fixing his knees, and he's doing like this, and he doesn't look up, and they'll answer questions, and he doesn't really look up to see who's talking to him. He just bent over, and getting ready for practice. And I started walking from one side of the semicircle over to the other side to see if I could get a better angle to shoot him from the right side rather than the left side. And I almost fell over this wheelchair, this motorized wheelchair. And when I turned to walk, and I had to look down and see what my leg was up against, and it was a man with no legs sitting in a wheelchair. I recognized the guy because he'd been on the Tonight Show a couple weeks before, and the movie Battleship had come out, and that's what he was promoting there. He got his legs. He was coming back. He was a colonel in Iraq. He was coming back from a memorial service for a couple of his fallen soldiers. And they hit an IED, and it blew his legs off. And he is still on active duty. He remained on active duty. His name's Colonel Gadsden. And I almost fell over the guy. And he had his camera in his lap. And so here I am looking at this guy, and I recognize him, and I say, "Hang on a second, let me clear some room for you." And so I tapped the guy with the microphone in front of us. And I said, "Can you scoot over a little bit?" And the guy looks at me like, "Are you out of your frickin' mind? Is this your first rodeo?" Yeah. And I point down and say, "Look at this guy here in the wheelchair. Can you get out of the way a little bit?" And so the guy saw that, and they moved over, and it was kind of like the parting of the waters. And now LeBron James has still been over tying his shoes and everything. And I say, "LeBron," and he looks up like, "Who the hell's talking to me like they know me?" And when he looked, I pointed to Colonel Gadsden in the wheelchair, and he said, he motioned for him to come in. He motioned like this. And I said, "Give me your camera, and I'll get some shots for you." So he gave me his camera, and they sat next to each other, and I took a couple shots. I gave him his camera back, and I'm going to get my camera up and take a couple shots. And so I take a couple, and I look, and right behind them is Kevin Durant. And this is the year that LeBron and Miami played Oklahoma City and Kevin Durant in the finals. And Durant was sitting there getting ready, and nobody was around him, no microphones in his face or whatever. And I said, Kevin, why don't you come over here and join the fun? And he stopped what he was doing, and he walked around the little back edge and sat down, and there was one of them on each side. And it's one of the most incredible photos that I've ever shot of just, you've got our guys wearing USA across their chest, and LeBron was sitting there without a shirt on, but it's the stars of the USA basketball team, and here's the guy who wore that flag on his shoulder and took a bomb for us. There are no bombs going off on the basketball court, but you could see that we are American moment. I mean, it's one of the most. That might very well be, Mark, my favorite photo that I've ever shot of all time. Yes. And, again, God has blessed me to be, man, if that camera that I use could talk, the stuff that it could say, because it's there when I'm setting up the photos and doing those kind of, it's not just pointing the camera and taking a photo.
Right.
You have to be able to kind of see it in your mind before you shoot it, set it up. One of the things that I guess is good about Rick being Rick is I'm able to stick my hand out and say, hey, I'm Rick. Scoot over half a step so I don't get this crap in the background so we can get a better photo. And I rarely, if ever, have anybody not cooperate. And like I say, it's always cool Basketball USA. Coach Calipari, he said he's one of the good guys. And I took that as a great compliment that you tell people thank you. If you take somebody's time and you ask them to do something for you, that's how I was brought up. I say thanks. I stick out my hand and say thanks. And I walk off. And they appreciate that you're not a pain in the ass paparazzi there. You're doing your job and you do it right. You say thank you for something you got from them. And they're all pretty cool. But yeah, that picture with LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Colonel Gadsden, I will go to my grave, Mark, on my deathbed. I'm pretty sure that'll be one of the last memories to leave my conscious mind before I.
Did you ever post that photo? Nap.
I posted it a couple times, Mark. I'll put it up on the Good Sports site as soon as we hang up here. I'll get it up on that page. But yeah, it is and I got, like I say, I got the one last year with John Wall and Derrick Rose sitting with Coach Calipari. Derrick Rose was his guard at Memphis, and then Calipari moved to Kentucky, and John Wall was his guard there. And they were both sitting and they posed for me, and it's a great shot. Now this year I got Anthony Davis and John Wall, and you could take the guys that have played college ball for John Calipari and put together a hell of a team. They would certainly be viable in the NBA. They would make the NBA playoffs if you took just ex players that Calipari coached in college. Maybe him, maybe Krzyzewski. I don't know that any other program has put so many guys into the upper echelon of the NBA than the programs at Kentucky and Memphis with Calipari coaching, and Duke. The defending national champion Duke Blue Devils, and just coming from a guy who was a Tar Heels fan for a long time. It's tough to watch Mike Krzyzewski and not be impressed by his absolute presence. I mean, if there's not a direct link between James Naismith and Mike Krzyzewski, I don't know if there ever is, Mark. This is a guy who is absolutely, it's like watching Michelangelo paint to watch Mike Krzyzewski coach. So, all right, man, we're about to wrap it up. Is that what you're saying to me, Mark?
Tonight, USA basketball.
7:30, Thomas and Mack Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Basketball center of the universe. We'll be there. Mark, any parting words of wisdom for us?
Let's have fun.
Let's have fun. That's what it's all about, folks. For all of us here at Good Sports, and especially my friend Mark Anthony, I'm Rick Rosen. Thanks for listening. We'll talk again next week right here on Good Sports.